TOGAF 10, AWS Solutions Architect Professional. Which architecture certification is right for me? That's going to be the discussion of this video. In this video, we will discuss the AWS Solutions Architect Professional and TOGAF 10. We will discuss the goals of these certifications and the strengths and weaknesses of these certifications so you know whether you should get an AWS Solutions Architect Professional, a TOGAF 10, or both of these certifications for your Cloud Architect, Solutions Architect, or Enterprise Architect career. And these are both big, heavyweight certifications. And I'll begin with TOGAF 10 and its goals. I'll talk about the AWS Solutions Architect Professional and its goals, and I'll talk about how you can use each of these. I'll begin with TOGAF 10 then. So TOGAF 10 is going to be an enterprise architecture certification. And TOGAF is really a methodology or a list of steps or a framework on how to get your clients to a state of digital transformation. Digital transformation is about creating new ways to do business, improving business efficiency, and changing the way we live, work, or play through the use of technology. So it used to be, for example, let's say we had a client maybe in the Middle East that needed a specific surgery, and they would fly to the Cleveland Clinic, for example, to get care. By comparison, what if we can have a physician that's 8,000 miles away operate a life-saving robot that can do the surgery in the person's home as opposed to needing to get on an airplane flight? That is an example of digital transformation. Or we can have an AI assistant that if we were going through a retail store could follow us, make recommendations, answer questions for us while we're in the store, and even give us custom discounts if they think that's what it's going to take to keep us in the store. So that's digital transformation. And TOGAF is all about this. TOGAF is all about understanding the business goals, the business needs, and giving you a step-by-step way to understand how the business operates, create the best operations for that business in the future, a future business architecture, how evaluating the current technology platforms and designing new technology platforms based upon the gap in your old systems and the new business goals and objectives. It involves determining, setting up a governance structure, a change management structure. It's a list of steps. So TOGAF provides a process to make sure that you don't miss things. The same way a physician would go head to toe and do it the same way each time, TOGAF is a framework to do that. So TOGAF focuses on steps. TOGAF focuses on the type of documentation an organization would need, maintaining architectural record systems or architecture repositories, etc. And TOGAF is 100% focused on the end goals of the client. TOGAF is vendor neutral, so there's no bias created by these certifications. And all of this is great. Now, here's what's missing in TOGAF. TOGAF will say, go speak to the client, map out their business architecture, and work with the client to create a new business architecture. TOGAF doesn't teach you how to do any of that. So if you are already working as an architect, if you were a management and strategy consultant and you knew how to do these things, now you're just following the TOGAF steps. But TOGAF doesn't teach you how to do these things. So TOGAF is only good for people that are already architects, working as architects that are looking to enhance their architecture skill set and provide digital transformation. There's no architectural lessons in TOGAF. Now, let's discuss the AWS Solutions Architect Professional. Now, this is an AWS certification, and it's very different than TOGAF. The AWS Solutions Architect Professional is predominantly about AWS marketing names, Elastic Compute Cloud, Amazon Simple Storage Solution, DynamoDB, what have you, and configuring those services. And guess what a cloud architect, a solutions architect, an enterprise architect, or a security architect don't do? They don't touch the services. That's done by engineers and admins. So the AWS Solutions Architect Professional misses a lot on the architecture side. It teaches systems administration or cloud administration, which is not our job. The AWS Solutions Architect Professional also does not teach the underlying technology. and that, or how the underlying technology works. And I can tell you, I've interviewed about 1,000 AWS certified people, and I've asked them, for example, what is a virtual machine, or how container orchestration works, or why we need container orchestration, or why we can't use a certain AWS service in an environment where 98% of enterprises are multi-cloud and the people can't answer it because the only thing they know is the name of the services and how to configure them. So they're still good about the AWS Solutions Architect Professional. It teaches you what are the AWS services. You understand what are the AWS service offerings, which is great. And in your job as a cloud architect, solutions architect, or an enterprise architect, you're going to have to present to the C-suite, and you're going to have to make it real. The chief information officer understands block storage, object storage, file storage because they've had it for decades. They understand virtual machines. They understand Kubernetes. They understand relational databases and NoSQL databases. So the AWS Solutions Architect Professional enables the cloud architect or the enterprise architect to be able to talk to the client about their virtual machines. And when the client says, what's the AWS equivalent? You can say it's called EC2. So that does enable the architect to translate back and forth between the techies that are going to be using the terminology in their certification and between the decision makers that are going to be using more business, more neutral terms. So that is a benefit. Now, let's talk about another great thing of the AWS Solutions Architect Professional. Most people don't know that it has nothing to do with cloud architecture or enterprise architecture, and it sounds really great. So here's the good thing. AWS certifications will help you get interviews, which is another big thing. Now, what's missing from the AWS certification is how do you provide digital transformation? How do you evaluate your client's business needs? What are your client's goals and how do you get them there? Any kind of creation of governance structures, any kind of creation of architectural repositories, or anything that architects even do. So there's that. So what we do as architects, speaking with clients, managing stakeholders, managing vendors, leading teams, that's not covered in there. So how do you apply these things? The first is to realize that no certification is ever going to be perfect. Just like no one tool is going to be perfect for every job, but life is about how do we use the right tools to get to our right outcome. So here's my suggestion. Learn architecture. Be trained in architecture by someone that can teach you the architect's job if that's your goal. Then use certifications. TOGAF, from my perspective, is the best step-by-step way to do things. And given that 70+% of organizations' technology investments don't provide any business value, TOGAF with its steps of focusing on the business vision, focusing on the optimized business architecture, designing solutions backwards from the client's goals, promotes digital transformation, and that is really great. TOGAF is also highly regarded. The TOGAF framework is used by most major enterprises that are using an enterprise architecture framework, so it's going to be great. It will help you learn a lot, and it will help you get interviews. Now, the AWS Solutions Architect Professional, it will get you interviews, and it will make you look very credible on the cloud. It won't teach you what you need to win the interview, but that's okay. You can learn those skills elsewhere, but it will get you interviews. And when you have the AWS Solutions Architect Professional and the TOGAF 10, the world often wants to speak to you about architecture positions, cloud architecture, enterprise architecture, and others. So these are both good certifications. In fact, I recommend both to our clients, and I typically teach my clients the AWS Solutions Architect Professional or the Azure Solutions Architect Expert, TOGAF 10, and because security matters so much, I use the CISSP with my clients as my baseline intro to security, and I teach all my architects that because it has such a good business focus and an architecture focus, and they're my favorite 3 certifications for most cloud architects. Not necessarily for an enterprise architect, definitely like them with security architects as well, specifically cloud security architects, but your end goal career determines the certifications you get. If you'd like to become a cloud architect, solutions architect, AI architect, enterprise architect, or any other kind of architect, join us for a free webinar where we'll go over the architecture role. We'll talk about what we do as architects. We'll talk about all the skills you need, and we'll spend 60 to 90 minutes answering any questions you may have about anything in your technology careers. Please join us. It's free. The link for this free webinar or these free webinars is in the description of this video. In the description of this video, you will also find many resources to help you in your career. How to win the cloud architect interview, for example, or any tech interview, how to get your first cloud architect job, how to get your first enterprise architect job, how to get your first AI architect job, and so much more. So check it out in the description of this video and register for some free things. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell to be notified of new videos, and leave me a comment to let me know what you thought of the video or where you're going in your career. I'd love to hear from you. This is Mike Gibbs signing off for now. I look forward to seeing you in an enterprise architect, cloud architect, AI architect, or security architect free webinar, or in another YouTube video. Take care, everyone.